Welcome to Agoracom's Small Cap Breaking News, your daily go-to source for the best small cap headlines for over 65 million investors since 2007. Today, we're doing a focused look, a real deep dive into some top small cap mining and exploration headlines. Our mission here is really to cut through the noise for you, our listener. We want to give you a direct path to understanding what's actually significant in these announcements. So we'll unpack the key numbers, the important quotes, the things that really matter. That way you can decide where you want to maybe dig deeper with your own research.
Exactly. And, what we're seeing today, it's not just about individual companies reporting news. It's really a snapshot of how this whole sector, the small cap mining world, is actively shaping the future supply. We're talking critical metals, gold, stuff that's essential for everything from, clean energy tech to things we use every day. So each of these stories gives us a piece of that bigger puzzle. It shows just how dynamic things are right now in resource development.
All right, let's jump right in then. First headline really speaks to strategic growth. Polymetallic accelerates exploration at Nisk Project amid major land expansion. And for those following along, the company trades on the TSX venture, symbol PNPN.
Yeah, and the big takeaway here is just how fast they're moving, strategically speaking. Polymetallic, they've expanded their land package by, get this, more than 300%. They picked up 167 square kilometers of claims right next door from LitFT Power. So that brings their total holding to over 212 square kilometers. That's a huge footprint. And it really positions them strongly in Quebec's polymetallic belt. That's an area known for deposits rich in, multiple valuable metals: copper, nickel, zinc, gold, you name it. So the potential for finding different things is pretty high.
And they're not just holding that land, right? They've announced a pretty ambitious summer drill program, over 25,000 meters planned. They're targeting key zones like Lion, Tiger, and Nisk East Main West. That's a serious program. What does that kind of commitment tell you?
Oh, it signals huge conviction and, a clear plan forward. Joseph Campbell, he's their VP Exploration. He put it pretty plainly. He said, with 4 drills turning and new ground to explore, this is our most ambitious exploration season yet. And he also mentioned they're not only defining known zones, but actively hunting for new discoveries.
All right, yeah.
So this aggressive drilling, plus that massive land acquisition, it really puts Polymetallic in the running, makes them a major contender, potentially, for Canada's next high-grade polymetallic mine. It suggests they've got good targets, strong potential, and they're moving fast to prove it out.
That aggressive approach, especially going after multiple metals, it really highlights that diversified demand we keep seeing.
Okay, speaking of critical resources, let's pivot. Let's talk copper. Our next big story is from Osisko Metals. Headline: Osisko Metals expands high-grade copper mineralization at Gaspé Copper Project with major drill results. Symbols for this one are TSX Venture, OM, also OTCQX, OMMZNF, and Frankfurt 0B51. Right, and the results here are, seriously impressive, especially from one hole, 30-10-90. They hit an incredible 279.0 meters, grading 0.49% copper, and that includes zones hitting as high as 3.34% copper, just to give some context, nearly 300 meters at almost 0.5% copper. That's very, very significant for a potential open pit. It suggests, potentially massive, long-life kind of operation, especially with those richer zones inside. And get this, in the same hole, they hit another 108.0 meters at 0.84% copper. That scale is exactly what investors look for when they're thinking about future production potential.
And they mentioned extending mineralization by as much as 418 vertical meters deeper in some spots, beyond what they already had in their model. That sounds pretty significant. What does that kind of depth and continuity imply for the project's ultimate size and, how long it could potentially operate?
Oh, that continuity is absolutely key. Robert Wares, he's the CEO of Osisko Metals. He said, these results continue to confirm the large-scale potential of mineralization at Gaspé Copper. So extending it deeper like that and keeping those good grades going, it really strengthens the argument that Gaspé Copper could be one of North America's largest undeveloped copper resources. And that's crucial, right? With the global clean energy transition needing so much copper. Large, continuous deposits like this one, they offer the scale, the longevity needed to meet that demand. Makes them very attractive assets.
Okay, let's shift gears again. Our third headline takes us to gold, a perennial favorite, right? Next Gold delivers high-grade gold intercepts at Goldboro, advancing toward updated resource model and feasibility study. You can find them on the TSX-V under NEXG and also OTCQX NXGCF.
Yeah, the gold intercepts Next Gold reported are really compelling, mainly because of the grade. They reported 77.30 grams per ton gold over 1.25 meters. And inside that, there was a bonanza zone. 190.5 grams per ton over half a meter. Just incredible stuff. Another really strong hit was 19.32 grams per ton over 3.5 meters. I mean, grades like 77 grams or that 190 grams, they're exceptionally high. It doesn't just show good mineralization, it signals a project that could have very, very high margins, even if gold prices fluctuate. That makes it stand out.
And it wasn't just drilling results, they also hit a pretty big permitting milestone. The federal government approved an amendment to Schedule 2 of the Metal and Diamond Mining Effluent Regulations. What does that regulatory green light mean for their timeline for actually getting towards production?
That's a critical step. It really helps de-risk the project. Kevin Bullock, the president and CEO, confirmed it. He said this approval is a critical step for advancing Goldboro. You know, in mining, sometimes the regulatory hurdles can be just as tough as the geology. So having both strong, high-grade results and this kind of regulatory progress, it definitely helps position Goldboro for potentially near-term production. It smooths out that path.
Right, that combination of good rocks and cleared paperwork is definitely powerful. So what would you say are the next key things investors should probably watch for to see if they stay on that track towards becoming an operating mine?
Well, you'd want to see that updated resource model they mentioned, likely incorporating these latest results, and then, of course, the feasibility study. That study will give much more detailed economics and engineering plans. Those are the big milestones ahead.
Okay, good points. Now, Canada's clearly busy, but let's widen the lens. Let's head southwest to another really rich mining area historically. We're going to Arizona. Intrepid Metals is reporting some remarkable high-grade copper, gold, silver there. This is at their Corral Copper Project. Intrepid Metals, TSX-V, INTR, and OTCQB, IMTCF.
And the results here are super impressive, especially because they're shallow. That's key. They hit 216.5 meters, grading 0.85% copper equivalent. And that started just 29 meters below the surface, very close. Within that long intercept, they had higher grade chunks too, like 49.1 meters of 1.84% copper, and even 10.25 meters hitting 5.94% copper. Just fantastic grades. And that copper equivalent, that just means they're factoring in the value of the gold and silver found with the copper. Finding this near surface, potentially bulk mineable stuff, that's often a big plus for keeping potential mining costs lower. Easier access, less waste rock to move.
Right, and Ken Enquist, the CEO over at Intrepid Metals, he commented on this. He said, "We're seeing clear indicators of a copper-gold porphyry system taking shape at Ringo." He added, "The scale, the grades, and the consistency all point to a shallow, bulk mineable opportunity."
Yeah, and mentioning a porphyry system taking shape, that's a really critical phrase for geologists and investors. Porphyry deposits, they're known around the world for hosting these huge copper deposits, often lower grade overall, but massive in size, which makes them economic. So seeing signs of one in a classic mining district like Arizona, it suggests the potential for a really significant long-life mine, and one that could add quite a bit to future copper supply, especially from a stable place like the U.S.
Fascinating stuff. Okay, let's wrap up our news roundup with one more compelling gold project, this time back in Ontario. West Red Lake Gold's Rowan PEA reveals high-grade, low-cost path to production in Ontario Gold District. This is West Red Lake Gold, symbol TSXV, WRLG, and also on the OTCQB as WRLGF.
So they put out a preliminary economic assessment, a PEA, for their Rowan project, and the numbers look really strong. It's forecasting a post-tax NPV that's net present value, basically the project's estimated worth of $239 million, and an after-tax IRR, internal rate of return, of 81.7%. Now, an IRR that high, over 80%, that indicates potentially fantastic profitability and a really quick payback on the initial investment. And it's driven by a very high average grade of 8.0 grams per ton gold that's exceptional, and projected all-in sustaining costs, or AISC, of just US $4,408 per ounce. That's low. Those numbers really do suggest high margin potential.
Interestingly, despite those strong projected economics, the initial capital needed is relatively modest, $70 million. You mentioned it's largely due to using a toll milling strategy. That seems key here.
Absolutely. It's a really smart strategic move. Shane Williams, the president and CEO, he summed it up well. He said, "Rowan is a high-grade, relatively wide, and near-surface deposit." And he explained how those features lead to the strong economics. The toll milling part is clever because it avoids the huge cost and time involved in building their own processing plant right away. Instead, they plan to truck the ore to an existing mill nearby. It's a leaner path to getting into production faster, which is a huge advantage, especially for a junior company. De-risks things quite a bit.
So, okay, that brings us to the end of the headlines. What does this all really mean? We've covered quite a bit today, some really impactful news in the small cap mining space, big land expansions, impressive high-grade drill hits, solid economic studies, key permits.
Yeah, and if you step back and connect the dots, these updates, they aren't just isolated news items. They really reflect how active and dynamic things are right now in exploration for critical minerals and gold. The numbers we talked about today, those high grades, those long drill intercepts, the strong financial metrics like that IRR, these are the data points that actually drive value. They signal where future supply might come from for resources the world really, really needs.
Which brings up a good question for you, the listener, as you think about all this. Which of these stories, these advancements, sparked your curiosity the most? Which one makes you want to dig a bit deeper yourself? Was it the huge copper hits, the really high-grade gold? Or maybe the strategic land plays and smart development strategies? Definitely use what we've discussed as a jumping-off point for your own research, your own insights. Until next time, keep exploring and stay informed.